Hello. So I've had an absolutely manic day today, but I've just had a little read through the comments that some of you left yesterday on my video, and I'm so grateful. Thank you. I did leave it to the last minute last night to post it, kind of in the hopes that it was the middle of the night and nobody would watch it. So I'm really grateful to you, those of you who did watch it and who commented. Thank you. So today's probably a similar thing, but today it was B, and I wanted to, so what am I doing? The A to Z of life according to how I see it at the moment. And the thing I wanted to talk about now was sort of being aware of where we are, or being where we are. And what I mean by that, right? So I'll give you an example first. A couple of months ago, I was driving, and I was really, really stressed and anxious and worried about something. I didn't know what to do about something to do with my daughter. And I'd been worrying and stressing and thinking and trying to figure it out. And worrying about what I had done and regretting things. Anyway, it was raining, right? It was pouring with rain, and the windscreen wipers were going really fast, and there was a truck in front of me, and I suddenly thought, like, the only thing that's true right now is this car, this truck in front of me, this rain on the windscreen. Like, that's what's real right now. That's what I've got to respond to. And I suddenly noticed that I'd been spending my time being in the future, worrying about, well, if I do this, what will happen? If we don't do this, what will it mean? You know, what's going to happen? So I was thinking about that that I was going to talk about that. And then this morning I had a situation where I couldn't get my kids out the house to get to where they needed to be. I just couldn't get them out on time. And I'd booked to go to a gym class at 9:30. And I noticed myself getting really, really angry with them. Sort of really angry and annoyed. And suddenly thought, well, I'm in the future now. I'm thinking, we're not going to get out the house in time. I'm going to be late for gym. I'm going to have to pay a £5 thing because I haven't made it to a class. I'm going to have to pay for a class that I didn't make it to. I was like, oh, hang on. I'm in the future right now. I'm not actually right here with my kids. And I was getting really wound up about thinking about what was going to happen. And it was just noticing that helped me, something shifted. And I was like, okay, so what? Right now, this is where we are. Me getting angry is actually making things worse. She can see me getting angry. Every time I nag her, it puts on another 5 minutes. This is my life. And I just stopped. I was like, okay, fine, I'm going to go sit in the car. If I'm late for gym, I'm late for gym. If I'm there on time, then that's fine. As it happened, I was 15 minutes late, but class had only just started, so I managed to do my class anyway. And I was a lot less stressed about it. But what I noticed with myself is that I did go there again, like, oh, but look, this always happens. And, you go to the past. So when I mean be where you are or notice where you are, where are you in your mind? Because 9 times out of 10, you're in the future or you're in the past. And what's true and what's real, I've found, is right now, right here. So right now, right here, I'm talking to you guys. You're listening to me, potentially. And I can have a list in my head of the things I've got to do and where I've got to be and what I've got to be, but they're a story. It's a story we're telling ourselves, because what's true right now is now, and what's going to happen later is something I'm making up in my head, and what's happened in the past is something I'm making up in my head. It's not saying it hasn't happened. It's just that my experience of it now is only coming through my thinking and my head, through the story I'm telling myself. And what's really cool about this, right, is that it doesn't matter where we are. It doesn't matter, because none of them is better or worse than the other, right? It's just knowing where we are, in my experience, helps. So sometimes it's lovely. Like, we've just decided we're going to go to North Wales on a camping trip. And like it's quite fun to look and plan and think about what might happen, and you know, and every now and then I go there and I think, oh my goodness me, there's going to be a nightmare. Kids are just going to want money, and then the last time we went, this happened and that happened. But I know that I'm flip-flopping between stories, and sometimes it's nice to be in the past. Like, how else am I going to remember my brother who's passed away if I don't go to the past, or my dad? Like, you have to go to the past sometimes and remember and whatever. It's not wrong. It's just knowing where you are in the moment. So when you're feeling sad, or when I'm feeling sad because I'm off, you know, if I'm feeling sad or stressed or whatever, like sometimes it helps just to know, oh, hang on, okay, yes, I'm in the past right now, or I'm in the future, and I can choose to stay there, or I can choose to come back to now, to the moment, and be present and deal with whatever's happening. And I don't want to make these too long, but what's fascinating, right, is that when like the shit hits the fan, that's often when we're the most present, and yet we think that we're not going to be. So we think, or humans tend to, so when I talk about shit hitting the fan, like for example, and this is an extreme example, but it's the best one I've got. When I had the phone call that my brother had been killed, okay? So my brother was shot. When I had that phone call, like there's no way in the world I could have planned for that, right? But in the moment, I was the most present I think I've ever been in my whole life. I just knew what I had to do. I knew I had to get to my mum, get in the car, get to my mum. You know, that was it. And then that day, that week, going out, do you know what I mean? Anybody who's lost somebody might know what I'm talking about. It's like, in that moment, you're just responding. You're not thinking about it. You're just responding. And you're present. When you're having a baby is another one. You're just really present. When you're in work, you know, high pressure work environments, you're faced with something and you deal with it. There's no space to think. There's no space to necessarily worry about the future or think about what you did in the past. They might come up, right? But it's not. It comes up as like a, you know, to help you in the present. I don't know. I don't want to talk too much, but I hope you guys get what I'm saying. What I've found really helpful is to be aware of where I am. And often through that awareness, it then helps to settle me. And that I find really helpful, is that being able to settle and know what's going on. Okay, well, right now I'm making a big old story about my daughter's future. Like, I can map out my daughter's future and be really worried about, like, you know, and sometimes it's not as positive as I'd want it to be, but it's all a story I'm telling myself. It's not true. I don't have to, my experience now doesn't have to be affected by that. And the same with the past. What I've done in the past is in the past. It's a story I'm telling. It's no reflection on what is actually happening right now, right here, right now. So that was my be aware of where you are. And see how that goes. So I again, I do these videos and I'm like, don't know what I said, but maybe it's helpful. Maybe it gets you thinking, just getting curious. You know, curiosity is a great thing. Like, see what you think or what you take away from what I'm sharing. And I'd love to hear your comments or your insights. And if anybody wants to have a chat with me, then please just let me know. Okay, lots of love. Bye.